Welcome to Prestige Worldwide, the podcast, a weekly battle of wits, debating everything from horseshoes to hand grenades, all for the privilege to be called right. And now, your hosts, Bobo and Travis.
Hey guys, welcome to Prestige Worldwide, the podcast. I am Travis. With me as always is Bobo.
Heyo.
Hey buddy.
How we living, dude?
I'm doing great, man. How about you?
Oh, you know, living in the middle of a white spring in the middle of white America.
It's like a goddamn snow globe out there right now. And it's awesome.
Dude, did you see? Yesterday was the first day of spring.
Yes.
And Rita's, Italian Ice, always gives out free Ritas on the first day of spring.
Right.
Well, they closed early yesterday, so I didn't get any.
Oh, you know who's jumping on that bandwagon too?
Who?
Dairy Queen.
Really?
They gave away free codes on the first day of spring as well.
Oh, well, they probably closed early as well.
I'm sure. But yeah, I love the fucking snow. I don't really know why at all, because I'm not I would like to ski, but I never have. I just never find time nor the money to do it. And I've snowboarded once or twice. It's always fun, but I don't do that on a regular basis. But I really just genuinely love snow.
Yeah, you do. I'm not. The older I get, the less I like it.
Oh yeah.
Because I have to shovel it, and then it inconveniences me, and everyone else is bitching about driving in it, which doesn't bother me, but everyone else seems to have a fucking conniption whenever it snows. Yeah,
well, see, as far as the shoveling goes, I don't mind that because I see that as how do I want to put it, as non-planned exercise. So,
okay.
And I like being out in the cold. I'll just put some headphones in, and go to town. And
I think me wearing glasses has a lot to do with it.
Yep. I listen, there are a couple things in life that have been ruined for me because my glasses wearing friends can't handle it.
Really? What else?
Snow and 3D movies.
I mean, I watch 3D movies and I wear glasses. That's not a big deal to me.
I'm telling you, you put 10 people in a room that wear glasses and you mention 3D, 8 of them say, "Oh, I can't fucking stand it." I guarantee you. Because, I mean, yeah, you're right. They make the 3D glasses big enough now that they fit over your glasses, but apparently it's not good enough for you fucking blowhards.
Oh, man.
I'm bringing out the anger today.
You are. You know what? I thought this was the episode I was going to bring out the anger.
You know what? We can go back and forth.
Okay, I'm fine with that. We can trade anger. I enjoy having someone else besides Uncle Harry to be miserable with. So, which he's going to call into the podcast later. So stick around for end times this week. Harry's got some things he wants to talk about. He sent me a list of topics today and said, "You should call," and I got some hot takes. And I said, "What about?" And his two things were 24-hour daycare in the ghetto and how he called the cops on his neighbors for parking on the sidewalk. So I can only imagine where this fucking thing's gonna go.
I feel like Uncle Harry today, and I'm going to apologize to our listeners because I'm going to be coughing a lot on this podcast.
From the emphysema,
from the emphysema, from the popcorn lung. But
yes.
No, I think I've learned my lesson now, but it has taken one last time. I have been doing some construction work a little bit, and I've been cutting through plaster. And I've now realized I need to wear a mask while I'm doing it because I have very mild asthma, but it triggers it every fucking time.
Oh, okay.
And so it's hard for me to breathe right now. I'm going to be fine, but it's hard for me to breathe.
You'll make it though.
Yeah. I mean, my wife, Mandy, she was like, "Well, you should maybe go to the doctors." And I was like, it'll be fine.
Fuck it. Just put some duct tape on. It'll be good, babe.
I just realized I need to start wearing a mask whenever I do that. So I apologize.
Good for you.
Right.
We're all very proud of you.
So Uncle Harry and I will be laughing and coughing together, hopefully later.
God, I can't. I'm just going to laugh when you guys start coughing simultaneously. And our episode is going to be 10 minutes of you and Harry coughing as they laugh and me laughing at it, and that'll be the end times.
Right. Yeah.
And everyone else listening will be like, "What the fuck is wrong with these people?"
I don't often get sick, and I imagine this is what it feels like, and it sucks.
Yeah, basically only maybe a little more achy. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't ever get the aches, but yeah, this coughing fucking sucks.
You don't get the aches.
I don't ever get achy. I don't know.
Well, you know what? We all can't be as healthy and virile as you. So
I like how that brought it to a screeching halt. I don't ever get aches.
Right. And it was the whole podcast stops. I don't know how to process that.
I feel the collective hatred of 20 people that are listening right now. The collective hatred coming at me.
I think we've got more than 20, actually. You'd be surprised.
No, I know. I'm just
22 or 23, maybe.
I'm making stuff.
Hey, so before we forget, let's update the polls.
Let's do that.
So last week on the bracketology of the episode, we had the brackets which you guys were supposed to complete online, and we have some winners to announce. So for the pizza brackets, the finalists were Papa John's and Stouffer's French bread pizza.
Right.
Travis, who's the winner?
I would have been shocked had Papa John's not won, but I'm not shocked. Papa John's is the winner.
Papa John's is the winner. So more people enjoy Papa John's than Stouffer's French bread pizza. How? I don't even know. I don't understand that at all.
Really?
Nope.
Okay.
All right. So the next one was the favorite shitty chain restaurant. Finals were Outback and Red Robin.
Right.
Travis, who are winners?
We have a tie between Outback and Red Robin.
Has that ever happened before?
I don't know.
Tie.
A tie. We have a tie. I don't.
Wow. 50-50.
I mean, I can kind of see this one. Like that's okay. I'll accept that.
I did have a tough time thinking about which one I would rather go to.
Not for me, but yes, I hands down is Red Robin. But
oh no, I don't know, man. I think it's pretty close too. So maybe I can empathize with the voters a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. So the next one was starch / potatoes, basically. The finalists were tater tots and waffle fries. Travis, who's the winner?
We have tater tots.
Tater tots. Everyone loves some tots.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Go find your own.
Sure. All right.
And the last one was the candy bracket. I got some issues with the candy bracket. I got some fan hate mail about it.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, that there was no chocolate in it.
What? Yeah, that was the point of it.
Yeah, they didn't like that.
Didn't we do on the last episode? No, we didn't. All right, next time we do it, we'll do an all chocolate bracket.
Yes, we will give you an all chocolate bracket next time we do this. I promise the listeners. I got a lot of people saying like, "What the fuck, man? Where's M&M's at?" And I was like, "Did you not listen to the episode? It's just non-chocolate." Like, yeah, whatever. Where are the M&M's at?
It's funny. Like, if you say to me like an all candy bracket, I think of like sugary candy like that. I don't necessarily think of like chocolate candy for some reason.
But M&M's like her candy.
I guess. I guess. But you know,
it's just funny. The listeners got that. They felt that strongly about it.
Hey, listen. Pissing off people since 2015,
and I got a lot of hate about Elio's Pizza. So, but you know what? To everyone that says that Elio's Pizza isn't good, fuck you.
It's not.
Well, fuck you too. So, who's the winner for the candy?
No one. We tied again.
We tied Runts and Jolly Ranchers.
Who are these people that are voting for Runts?
I love Runts.
I know you do, but you are weird, and I don't understand who likes it. So
50% of the voters like Runts.
Okay, that's true.
50-50.
Doesn't mean I like it. So
fine, whatever. I don't care.
Fine. And
what?
So those are the results for that. Also, I'd like to touch on the Smoking Smarties. The more I looked at it, and again, we have the link on the bracketology page on our website. The Smoking Smarties is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen. Like,
Isn't it retarded?
It's not Smoking Smarties. Spoiler alert. It's crushing them up and breathing in the dust and blowing out the dust.
But that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid. I
think it's funny.
I mean, it is funny. And I didn't use the video you sent me because there was another video that same kid did about how to smoke Smarties.
There was a tutorial.
Yeah, yours was the smoking Smarties. I guess smoking like 4 packs of Smarties at once.
A big ass blunt of Smarties.
Like, who gives a shit? It's still the same thing. You're breathing in sugar vapor. That
kid's the OG of sugar, man.
I guess so.
Him and Hare have a lot in common.
That is true.
Also, to update the listeners, episode 63, we had the poll about, is this the whitest episode we've ever done? And the voters agree. Yes. The results are yes. That was the whitest episode we ever did. And I got a lot of comments about the white episode. Someone told me that they used an analogy here, and I don't know if I'm okay with this.
Okay.
Because they used the whitest episode as like comparing to Ted Nugent.
Ted Nugent.
And I was like, I don't think Ted Nugent, maybe, is he the whitest thing out there as far as like music? Because I think Ted Nugent's pretty badass.
Okay. Let's step back a second here. Is Ted Nugent the whitest music out there? No, not even close. I think all country music comes before Ted Nugent.
Are the listeners said on a scale of Jay-Z to Ted Nugent, we're Taylor Swift's for a podcast. And I said, hey, pump the brakes. Taylor Swift is way more white than Ted Nugent.
Absolutely. Are they saying we were going past Ted Nugent?
No. Ted Nugent was like the end of the scale. And we're like somewhere between.
Dude, Taylor Swift is the white. Okay, I'll go. That's the whitest. That should have been the scale. Jay-Z to Taylor Swift. And while I don't disagree with that listener, I don't give a shit. It was about Oscar movies and it was the best and worst movies of the year.
Yes.
I believe we have a whiter episode in us.
We can try.
I believe so. Honestly, I think the shitty Kickstarter episodes that we do are probably whiter.
I would like to say we would do a black episode, but that sounds entirely racist.
It really does, and I don't know what that is, and me speculating is probably also going to get us into trouble.
It's uncomfortable to think about that. Like, I would like to do a multicultural episode, or whatever you would call the other spectrum from white. But even speculating what topics would be on that episode, I feel like if we don't have Wayne say the topics, it's very racist.
Right, absolutely. Which, okay, it might be, but yeah. Now this brings up something that I've been watching lately. There's a new series on Netflix called Ugly Delicious, and it's basically this chef. He goes around and like talks about food. And he does, every episode is about a specific food. Like he did like tacos or he did shrimp and crawfish episode. He also did an episode about fried chicken. And he is a Korean American chef. So he usually brings it back to kind of the Asian culture and how like it still is the same thing. Like fried chicken in Asian culture and fried chicken in American culture. They're still fried chicken, but just kind of shows the difference between them.
Right.
But he had somebody on there that he was talking to, and and they were talking about like eating fried chicken. They were at a restaurant, they were eating it, and he mentioned that he had a couple black friends that he was talking about the episode with, and they're like, no, we will never be on TV eating fried chicken. And it never dawned on me that eating fried chicken as a black person would be something you'd be ashamed of, or you'd feel ashamed just to be seen because of the stereotype. Like I never thought of that. And I was sitting there, I was like, ooh, that's gonna take a minute to sink in.
So I want to comment on that whole story, but I feel like it's racist if I comment on it.
It's weird. It's a fine line to like talk about.
I feel like if I say anything, it's the wrong thing. Right?
I don't go that far. Like, I feel like we can still talk about it, but it feels, I don't know, it kind of feels patronizing to talk about it coming from us.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
I unofficially voted the whitest podcast. I don't know if I could comment on it.
I think the Daily Stormer's got a whiter podcast, but that's just me.
Who?
The Daily Stormer. Do you know what that is?
I think the Dick Show is probably whiter than that, too.
No, do you know what the Daily Stormer is?
No, what's that?
And that's the white supremacist page that like led like the Charlottesville riots or protest, if you will.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
So I'm pretty sure they probably have a whiter podcast, but they, that's, I guess it's up for debate.
I guess so.
Wow, I made you
Jesus
uncomfortable,
Christ.
didn't I?
Also got some other comments. People thought that people agree with me on Logan should have been nominated for Best Picture.
Nope.
I got a lot of people that thought that was a pretty big hit. So, not that you agree with me, but other people were really into it.
Sure, I get it. And you know what? Maybe I should go watch it again. Maybe I will see it through different eyes and agree with you people, but my guess is no.
And we missed the joke that we should have said that The Shape of Water apparently is The Little Mermaid with the roles reversed.
All right. Sure. Well, yeah, sure.
And someone called our podcast Brokeback Mountain Part 2. Those are the comments I have.
Now, that one made me laugh. Are you trying to say we have terrific sexual chemistry?
They said without the pudding.
Without the pudding?
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. I'm going to need that listener to call in and explain that joke because I'm sure it's funny. I just don't get it.
All right. Random listener who sent us that comment, please call in and explain what without the pudding means.
It was Anne.
I hope it was Anne.
Oh, that's funny. Anyways.
I've been saving up some more sleepy times, by the way, so in a couple weeks I'll have enough for that. So
okay. I'm always down for that.
Yeah. Okay, good. Anyways, so moving on, half of a segue here.
Half of what?
The other week, or this past week, I posted something on my Facebook that I thought was funny because people apparently just don't understand how to spell. I made Travis go look at this. I posted a comment about confirmation bias.
Right.
Do you know what confirmation bias is, Travis?
Right, yes.
Okay, well, apparently people I knew didn't know what it was. Like, Ann didn't know what it was.
I mean, well, our society is confirmation bias at this point.
Absolutely.
Right.
So, listeners that don't know, confirmation bias is where you take a very small selection of like your own personal like viewpoints or own personal experiences, and you extrapolate that into what you think normal is or what the outcome is for everybody. For instance, if you meet you have 5 friends in the whole world, and they all vote for Trump, then everyone voted for Trump in the election, and you don't understand how anyone could vote for Hillary. Like, you don't understand. All your friends voted for Trump. How was it so close?
Right.
That's confirmation bias. Or if you go to the casino and you bet on black every time on the roulette table and you always win, then you always bet on black because black wins more than red.
Right.
Even though statistically, they're exactly the same odds.
But through your point of view, you confirmed it as fact.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is confirmation bias. It's a big problem in our society, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Very big problem.
Yes.
However, apparently it's not as big a problem as homophones. Homophones, Travis, are 2 words that are spelled differently, but they're similar, and they sound similar, and they mean completely different things.
Right.
So I have a lot of dog show friends on my Facebook, and they all thought I was talking about conformation bias.
Right.
Conformation being the structure of a dog.
Right.
And they all started commenting on my Facebook while I was at a dog show this past weekend, and I couldn't even respond because I was in the ring.
Right.
So like I was busy. And then people started correcting my spelling, saying that I was spelling the word wrong.
Oh, I didn't get
like,
down to that
basically
point.
calling me an idiot on my own Facebook page.
I actually didn't get down to that point where they started
Yes,
correcting
Travis.
you.
So I said confirmation bias is like a big problem or whatever. And then some people got it and were commenting on it. And then some of my dog show friends started commenting on it like it was dog stuff. And then they started talking about conformation bias. And then people started correcting my spelling, saying you spelled it wrong.
Wow.
So I get back 3 hours later, and people are IMing me saying, what is wrong with people on your Facebook? Are they all idiots? Or like, hey, by the way, you spelled this wrong on your Facebook. Like, both sides of the table were IMing me like separately, privately.
Oh my God. Yeah, now that I'm getting down to I didn't get down to the argument of which word you were trying to use. But wow, this is funny.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. People got a good kick out of that. So anyways, the reason I bring it up is confirmation bias is a big problem. And I was only talking about it because I want to talk about something this week that I've been seeing a lot about lately because I've been doing a lot of research into this topic.
Okay.
And Travis, how do you feel about vintage stuff?
I am. It's got to be product specific, I suppose. Like,
what do you mean product specific?
Like, vintage clothing can be cool.
Okay.
Vintage cars, I don't care about.
Okay. Okay.
Like that kind of that's what I mean by product specific. It's got to be, I don't know, something
so
I care about.
I have a pair of vintage speakers.
Okay.
And the only reason I have them is because they were my dad's. He bought them brand new and like back in like 1979 or something like that.
Yep.
Now, when they were built, they were like very expensive. My dad used to work at he was in the warehouse at like an audio electronics shipper manufacturer.
Okay.
So he got them like basically for below like what they cost to even produce. Do you know what I mean?
And
he spent what?
I'd like you to get to describing these speakers because they're not just fucking speakers.
Oh no, they are. They're fuck you speakers.
Okay. How tall are
So
these?
I have what are called they're Acoustat Model 3s for anyone that possibly knows what those are. I'm sure no one in this podcast listening knows, but if you do, congrats.
Right.
They are electrostatic speakers, Travis.
Okay.
So they do not work the same way that your traditional cone speakers work.
Okay.
They use they don't use current, but they use a lot of power, and they vibrate basically using a magnetic field.
Right.
With a suspension, and there's a thin diaphragm in between these two thick metal, basically sheets of paper, or not paper, but metal sheets, and it makes the internal diaphragm vibrate, creating sound waves at very high currents, and it takes a lot of power to run these things.
Okay,
and they're very tall.
Yes, how tall are these things?
They're 5 feet tall.
Okay,
and they're almost 3 feet wide.
Okay,
3 feet long, I should say, but they're only 2 inches thick.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Because
they'll have giant window panes.
Yeah, yes, they absolutely do. And so basically, what you're trying to say is you have huge, we'll call them window panes, energy sucks sitting in your living room.
Oh, they don't use that much current when they're not being used, actually. So
well, yeah, but when they're being used, they're
Oh yes,
the power of the house flickers.
Actually, I was kind of worried about that when I hooked them up, that they would actually be able to power in my house. Because the power amp used to turn them on to suck the power into them.
Right.
It's an ungodly amount of power, Travis. I have a gigantic old monoblock power amp for them. It takes like 400 watts of power to run these things.
But what I think you're getting at is they do sound good.
Sure.
Right?
They sound good.
Okay.
But do they sound better than speakers you can buy right now off the shelf for $500?
Okay. I don't know.
And here's the question. I don't even know because I'm not going to go buy another set of speakers for $500.
Right.
And just to try them out. And if you go online, Travis, and this is where I'm talking about confirmation bias, this is where the thing comes full circle.
Okay.
You can't find honest opinions on anything vintage anymore. For anything. Like, I'm trying to look up stuff about these speakers to figure out, like, what their lowest frequency is for, bass resonance and things, and trying to match some stuff up internally to figure some stuff out about them.
Right. And
you can't get an honest opinion from anybody about vintage stuff. Either it's, like, the best stuff ever and they don't make it like they used to, or vintage stuff is garbage.
Well, and now, when it comes to speakers, okay, let's just get this all out of the way. When it comes to speakers and it comes to vinyl records and music and stuff like that, and what people are hearing, it's very subjective.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
So, in that instance, I completely understand that confirmation bias happens, and that it's very difficult for to differentiate when something is that subjective as hearing is. So, I'm not surprised by that at all.
I can't stand it because you can't get like honest. I don't even know what's true anymore or not. I don't even know if it's real or not. You know what I mean? And it's not just speakers. It's like, I want to talk about vintage stuff in general this episode because there's got to be a lot of things out there that vintage stuff might actually be better than what they're producing now, or at least so different that it's not comparable.
Okay. And that's my argument with your speakers, by the way.
No. They still make electrostatic speakers.
Yeah, I know, but like, are they still that fucking huge?
Yes, they have to be. The electrostatic designs, you must make them that big to work.
Gotcha.
That's the whole point of them. Gotcha. It's a different kind of speaker design. They're not only big to be big. All electrostatics are big flat panels because they're not very thick.
Gotcha.
So you need to have more air in them going up and down to compensate.
Yeah, see, for me, I wouldn't care. Now, I understand they're your dad's, and that holds a different reason for you having them. But for me, I don't care how good they sound. I'm not having those fucking things in my house.
Oh, I think they look awesome. I love them. I love the way they look.
Yeah, see, I'm not there with you. I like, they're just too fucking big. But
yeah, exactly. I got a big living room, right? They fit right in.
That is true. That's not. Yeah, you do have a good spot for them. They're just not my thing. But
also, my wife hates them.
No shit.
Like a lot.
There's probably not a whole lot about you that your wife doesn't hate. And the speakers are just the tip of the iceberg.
Just chalk this up to another one.
But I'm curious. I'm curious about what else is on your list, because You like to get angry, and I'd like you to make me angry. So give me something else that's on your list for what are we doing here? We're doing things that are better than, or vintage things that are better than things that are.
Okay, well, let's start there because the list of things I think that are better than stuff that was made 50 years ago is very small.
Okay.
And if I'm wrong, let me know.
Okay.
So you touched on one of them, Travis.
Right.
Vintage clothing.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it's better.
Right.
But I'm saying is they don't actually make it anymore, so you can't compare it to anything new. So if you want some vintage outfit that, like, some dress made from the 70s to some designer, like, either your options are to hire a seamstress and custom make this thing yourself out of some pattern or fabric that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Or to buy it used.
Well, the other part about vintage clothing too is, it can also be better produced, and instead of, like my H&M jeans won't last nearly as long as like probably my dad's Levi's from the 70s.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay.
But you made a very big distinction there. You talked about your H&M jeans compared to your dad's Levi's.
Right.
What about Levi's built now, though?
I honestly, I don't wear Levi's, so I don't know. But
it's not necessarily fair to compare your H&M to Levi's because they're built differently in the first place.
Sure.
They cost 1/3 the price.
Sure. Well,
so
they're probably pretty comparable. I don't know.
If you go to a Levi's store now, if they're the same price point they were 50 years ago,
how much is
a pair of Levi's now probably costs $60-$70 for like the bargain pair.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I only wear Levi's, so.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. And
H&M jeans can cost $25.
And how long do your Levi's last?
Oh, I still have them. I haven't bought new jeans in probably 5 or 6 years.
Okay, well that's good. All right, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
What you're talking about though is a true thing, and people again. This is confirmation bias in another way you don't realize it.
Right.
What you're talking about, Travis, is planned obsolescence.
Right.
There are a lot of things built nowadays. Like I can go buy a $10 toaster from Walmart.
Right.
From Wally World, if you will.
Right.
And yes, it is much cheaper than a toaster probably built in 1950.
Right.
But in 1950, they didn't build things to be obsolete 5 years after they built them.
Right.
So there wasn't that price point for an item in the first place.
Well, but here's the thing.
Okay.
You're presenting your own version of confirmation bias.
Why is that?
Because they might have built something that was as cheap as your $10 toaster back then. But the longevity didn't happen. Nobody's talking about a $10 toaster from back in the 50s. They're talking about the toaster that lasted. So
correct.
It
okay,
it
that could be true too.
All of the other ones that were built. Well, there were some shitty ones built back then too, but nobody talks about them because they're no longer around.
Oh, right, absolutely.
So
that's true.
So you can't you got to compare a top of the line toaster to your 1950s toaster.
You're exactly right. You've got to compare apples to apples with these discussions,
right.
And people just seem to not do that. They'll say things like, "Oh, cars built today don't last like cars built in 1950."
Right.
That's a very general statement. Are you telling me that a $200,000 Ferrari built now doesn't last like a Ferrari built in 1950? Because you're probably wrong about that.
Well, I'm also going to tell you, somebody saying they don't build them like they did in 1950. That's true. They're much safer now.
They're much safer now, Travis, and they're usually more affordable for the same quality on par.
Right. If you I understand people are into vintage cars for the vintage looks, but if you want to talk about safety, just read about crumple zone.
Yes,
it's all you need to do, and understand the transference of power between
read about displacement. It's very important,
right? I don't know. It's just that's kind of funny to me that we overlook some of the advancements that we've done to things just for aesthetics, and I get that.
Right,
that's fine.
Yes.
But
it's I just hate how people are like, oh man, you see all these vintage cars, classic cars are a big one, Travis, which is on the other side.
Right,
cars built in 1950 are nowhere near as good as cars built now.
Right. Yes,
and not in one respect, Travis. In every respect, there is not one thing about a car built in 1950 that's better than the car now.
Sure.
Not one fucking thing on a car. Call in with this podcast and tell me one fucking thing they had other than an 8-track player, which they don't make anymore, probably. That's better on a car in 1950 than a car built in 2018.
Now, I'm not well versed in cars. You are more well versed in cars than I am. But now, would how about rust protection?
They didn't have any rust protection on cars built in the 50s.
Yeah, but they were made out of more durable metals. They're
made out of iron and they rust like crazy. That's why none of them last anymore.
Oh, okay. All right, then I'm wrong.
They're way worse.
Yeah. So that was my only shot in the dark. That maybe there was something better built back then, but I don't know. I also have something on my list that like I think was better then than it is better now, and that is furniture.
Okay.
I say that because most of the furniture back in, whatever you could consider vintage is, but like, 70s, 80s, whatever. I don't care. But, most of that shit was built with like real wood. And you could, if you didn't like it, you could paint it, you could stain it something else, you could customize it. You can't do that shit with whatever you pick up now at like, Walmart or Target or whatever. You can't customize those kinds of things.
That's true, because most of the stuff built now is built with particle board and like laminate veneer basically is glued onto it.
Right.
And I don't know if those methods probably just didn't exist 50 years ago.
Well, it just wasn't as, they probably didn't, but then somebody realized how you could mass produce it. So
Right. Back then was much more custom. And they do make custom furniture still, but it's very expensive still.
Right. Yes. Yeah, the average person probably just doesn't, isn't going to shell out, whatever.
And I think probably back in the day they made more basic stuff, but still build it like with real wood. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like that market's probably gone now. You're right. If you want basic furniture, you're probably buying the particle board shit from Walmart, Target, IKEA.
Right. Yeah. But even IKEA stuff is like you can still do. Theirs is kind of made to customize to a certain degree as well. So I don't necessarily know if I put IKEA into that category, but I don't know. But I just because a lot of my IKEA stuff is still standing, and I can do different things with them. I like to customize my furniture a little bit.
You like to customize it, huh?
I like to
put some rims on it.
So my
racing stripe.
My dresser right now that I have in my bedroom used to be a TV stand. And it was funny because it was one of those big ass like TV stands that had like drawers at the bottom, had like a little cutout, had like a little cutout for maybe like a 32-inch TV back when before flat panel TVs.
Before everyone had 80 inches, right?
Right. And when I upgraded to like one of those good TVs, I took that TV stand and I cut the top off of it, and I used the bottom just for a TV stand, and I kept the top around for a while. And then I made drawers that and put drawer slides in it, so you could and I made it into a dresser.
Good for you.
Yeah, so I like
Look
to do
at
that.
You handy piece of shit.
I've been known.
You've been known to be handy and handsy.
Not so much handy, but I am handsy.
Absolutely. Okay, so since we're talking about furniture, I think that's probably one place I agree with you.
Okay.
I think furniture. I think it built the way it was built back then was just that market doesn't exist anymore for the middle of the low end stuff. They just don't build it like that.
Right.
For those the common person.
Right.
But what about people use this one all the time as an example of things that were built? One thing that's definitely better back in the day than it is now is home construction. They built homes back. You hear this all the time, Travis.
Right.
Homes built in the 50s are built above the code they built homes at today. It's much better to get an old home than a new home.
Right.
What are your as someone who's built a lot of stuff in a home, Travis? What are your thoughts on that?
It's complete horseshit. Like
I knew you'd say that. And I'm glad you did.
When you go back, first off, go look at the guts of a house. When you look at like the electricity or the electrical wiring of an old house, like back 50s, 60s around here, that wire is janky as shit. Like,
yeah.
Isn't
it covered with cloth sometimes?
Yeah, and it's
because cloth's not flammable.
It looks like I'm working in a house that has that right now, and it really looks like unsafe. Like I don't
There's
know
no other word for it. It's unsafe.
Right? Yeah. And then when you get into plumbing, like you have old cast iron pipes, which are cool and all, but the new PVC pipes just hold up better and are easy to work with.
Yes, absolutely. And let's talk about like the actual construction of the home. Travis, how fun is it to make, new drywall and put it in a corner and line it up perfectly in an old house?
Jesus Christ. That's another one too. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I will say I have a newfound respect for the guys that used to work with plaster. Plaster's not really done much anymore, but if you know how it's done, basically it's like putting drywall joint compound on a whole wall and smoothing it out, so it all matches up.
Right.
And the house that I'm working in right now, it really does usually match up. Now the corners may not be aligned. That's really hard to do. But those walls, it looks like drywall, but it's all plaster. It was all customized by a single guy.
Yeah, fuck doing that.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, that's
fuck
just
that.
I'm pretty sure at this point that's a lost art. But
probably
it really was an art at that point. It's just not. But it takes longer. It's easier now to just put up some drywall, screw it in, and gloss over your screw holes and make it look good.
And I have no problem with that because a lot of drywall is built to be flame retardant and stuff now too.
Right. Yeah.
And it's already smooth. You don't have to worry about it.
Right. Yes. So
I'm not saying that's not any better or worse. It's just different. It's probably easier and saves time and cheaper. So I'm okay with those improvements.
Sure.
But the actual construction of the home built with better wood and stuff, I don't want to hear that nonsense because a lot of the stuff now, the way they built it back then was so customized to the individual builder and they didn't use standards. So things just don't fit right and corners just don't look the same or they weren't built to the same specifications that another home was built to.
Right.
Fuck that.
The technology also wasn't there to make a house uniform and make and you run into problems like that, and I guess it also depends on the builder, but before you can run into studs that wouldn't be the exact 16-inch or 24-inch centers that you're supposed to have. So it could vary, and that could pose problems when you're doing new construction or you're updating or whatever you need to do.
I think it's funny that in some industries we talk about things being custom as being very good. Right. For instance, homes. Like, oh, you got a custom home. Like, your home's custom, one of a kind, so it must be better.
Right.
Yet, when we talk about things like, let's say, cars. Like, the assembly line revolutionized how cars were built. And everyone loves that when you buy a nice car, it's the same as the car built out the line before it and after it.
Right.
It's just funny how some industries that's okay, and some industries it's terrible that things are built uniform.
Right.
Like if you said you bought like a uniform home, oh my god, you fucking peasant.
But I want my car to be the exact same car that you buy because I want I don't want any flaws in my car. Like
right. Exactly. Because I've always had Toyotas and they're always the same. They've always driven the same, and I love the way that they are.
Right.
But my home better be unique as fuck.
That is true. Yeah. Well,
But here's one thing. There is another thing that has been built that is, I'm not going to say better or worse than the older stuff.
Okay.
But just different.
Okay.
And this is pretty specific. They have not basically updated the tube amplifier since it came out, years and years ago.
Right. And
for some applications, tube amplifiers are just better still.
I agree.
And I'm mostly talking about like in high-end guitar amps and some high-end stereo equipment. Some of it. Not all of it always, keep that in mind. But for some of it, the actual tube technology has not gotten any better than it was 50 years ago.
This is and we're not gonna harp on this subject too long because I feel like unless you're a guitarist and you've dealt with this, you don't really you may not have a whole lot of interest in it. But this is another one you got to tread lightly in because it is easy to say that because a lot of people like the sound of a tube amp better than a solid state.
Right.
And so again, it just comes down to what you like better. Where I'm not exactly sure if a solid state's better than a tube. And it's just two different ways of manufacturing the same, an amp. But I happen to like tube amps better.
I think most people that experience them in that industry love them. But so let's pivot off that because that's pretty specific.
Right.
But let's talk about something that everyone probably deals with nowadays.
Okay.
Vintage stereo equipment.
Okay.
Like vintage receivers, vintage record players, vintage CD players.
Sure.
Are fucking garbage.
I don't disagree with you. No. I don't disagree with you on this one at all. But I don't have the reverence for vintage stereo equipment like some people do.
I have none. So
I also don't have. I guess I don't really have a strong opinion whether the old stuff is garbage and the new stuff is better. I just want something that works, and I don't want to have to worry about finding some little old man in a shop around, sitting in a back alley that used to work on some specific stereo amp that I had. Like, I just want to make sure it fucking works. I've had the same stereo for years now, and maybe at this point it's vintage, but like,
and it works.
It works. It works fine. And actually, Uncle Hare bought me my current record player that I have. He's a great friend. But you
use that word "great" pretty liberally, but okay.
Listen, I mean, he bought me a record player. There's some greatness in it, but so, and it's a new record player, and it works. It works way better than my old one that I had. Now my old one was
okay.
My
Fair
old one
enough.
was a piece of shit. So like, I
just hate how like we've gotten so much better with electronics. Can you imagine these amps? People love these 70s amplifiers. Okay,
right.
You know what computers looked like in the 70s, right? Imagine if I walked around, Travis, telling you that I love 70s computers.
Right.
Just so much better than what we have today, Travis. I love the old 70s Victor 9000s and Commodore 64s. Oh my God, Travis. So much better than my MacBook Pro.
So much better.
Like, do you realize how fucking dumb you sound when you walk around saying, "Oh, this 70s Sony amplifier is so much better than this one I could buy in 2018"? Like, you think the same technology for circuit boards and wiring and capacitors and stuff has gotten better and everything, not just computers? You fucking morons.
Right, yeah.
I don't want to hear this garbage.
Yeah, that is
I tell everybody that. Though I'm like, so you like 70s computers then? They're better than what we have now? Well, that's retarded. Well, so is what you just said. Because it's basically the same industry.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. Like, because I've never thought of it that way. That is funny. Like, I like 70s computers. Love
them, Travis.
Yeah.
Love them. 5 1/4 drives, best thing ever made. Bring back the 5 1/4.
I like being able to save one song on my computer.
there's a lot of bands now that are doing, people are putting out records again.
Right.
Well, that's fine. Records I have no problem with. I mean, whether you can argue if they sound better than CDs or not is whatever, but it's so close that the argument is probably worth having, which is fine.
Yeah. Now
bands are putting out things on cassettes again. You fucking idiots.
I'm 100% with you, and I know this is probably a little bit hypocritical because I am into vinyls, and I will say that is another example of something that is made better now than it was made back in the 70s or the 80s or whatever. The actual production of vinyl now is a better
because the manufacturing methods have improved.
Right. Yes. So
right.
But cassette tapes, why?
Because the only reason they made them, they were inferior to records when they made them. They made them for convenience and portability, which is no longer the need for them because we have MP3s.
Right.
And smartphones. So the whole reason that technology existed is obsolete.
And I mean, like...
And yet we're still fucking bands are putting them out now like they're fucking cool again. I think you're fucking retarded.
I mean, they're not retarded. The people that are buying them are.
They're both. It's both sides of the aisle. Everyone's at fault, Travis.
Oh no! I mean, listen.
Drain the swamp.
If some idiot's gonna buy it, I have no problem with you selling it. But goddamn, like the fact that there's a market for CDs again is mind-boggling, or for cassette tapes is mind-boggling. Like,
I get CDs because of the sound quality, which is fine.
Sure,
because most MP3s are compressed a little bit. So, but tapes are too, and they're fucking awful.
And I get I get vinyl. I get vinyl records because there's an aesthetic to it. There's an actual putting a record on, putting the needle down, looking at the artwork in this big form that CDs didn't have.
And there's a warmth to vinyl that doesn't exist in other formats. So I get all that exactly.
Right.
But tapes have none of that.
What are the advantages of tapes? I don't know. Somebody.
You might as well start watching movies in VHS again, Travis.
I'm going back to beta. Fuck you. But,
hey man, Betamax had better sound than VHS.
Really, I don't know that I've ever. Well, I've never seen a beta. I wouldn't even know what one looks like.
They look exactly the same as a VHS.
Oh, okay. Well, there we go. But
you mean the actual tapes?
Sure, I don't know.
The tapes are a little smaller than a VHS. That's the only difference, though. You would never be able to tell the difference nowadays on TV what the difference was between a Betamax and a VHS.
Right, yeah. I don't know. But, I defy anybody listening here that likes cassette tapes. Call in. Tell us why they are better. Because you know what? I will listen, and maybe you'll change my mind. I legitimately want to know.
If you bought a cassette in the last 2 years,
don't know.
I'll F4 in your life, okay?
I'm not going to go that far because I did see like the band Braid. They put out like a box set of like all of their stuff on cassette, and it was actually in like a really cool little box. And I can understand that for displaying purposes or collectability, but I don't understand why you'd buy cassettes on a mass scale.
I'm with you. I don't get it either, buddy.
So, yep. All right. You got anything else on your list, or you want to call Uncle Hare?
I think we should call Uncle Hare. We can maybe touch on the topic with him a little bit. He'll probably bitch about something we haven't thought of.
And we're gonna apologize to the listeners right now because we've been having some computer issues in this episode.
No. I've been having some computer issues in this episode.
We're a team.
You've been fine, Travis.
No, we're a team. We go down with the ship together. So
the fucking dynamic duo.
So we have absolutely no idea how long this episode is right now. It could be It could be 30 minutes. So you're welcome, or it could be an hour and 30 minutes. So I'm sorry, but
it's not that long,
right? Yeah. So we
not yet.
Who knows how long this is going to turn out to be, and we'll see what kind of tangents and rabbit holes we run down with Uncle Hare here. So let's give him a call.
Give him a call.
Yeah. How's it going, Hare?
I'm not gonna say it. Just you guys sound like idiots. Just so you know.
Who? Us?
Yeah. Why don't you see my dick in your mouth? How about that?
Oh, got it. And we are off. So
yes, we're off to the races today, baby.
So Bobo and I and Uncle Hare are having a little snow day today, and we were talking about it on one of our group chats, and so Hare wanted to chime in on some subjects he has thoughts on.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, your dickhead co-host won't let me talk about the biggest one I wanted to talk about.
Well, he can sit back. I'll talk about it.
No. We're not talking about politics.
It's not political. It just involves a political figure.
Right. Nope. Out.
You are such a pussy.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I want to hear about 24-hour daycare in the ghetto, Hare.
So I'm driving down the road the other day, right? And there's all these signs that appear to be written in like crayon, probably made by the slaves that they're monitoring. Actually, this is a very poor choice of words for words. I should definitely not have said that. Back that out. That's not what I meant. But what I'm saying is that there are these like poorly written signs, like terrible signs in the middle of the ghetto. I'm driving all around as I'm going up to my friend's house for I probably saw about 10 of these, 15 of these, and said 24-hour child care. Please call. Literally said 24/7 child care. Please call.
You know what, though? As you're describing this, I'm thinking to myself, why hasn't this been a thing like before?
Because who wants to watch your kids at 4 a.m. on a Sunday, dude?
No.
Who are you going to get to do that?
We're not. But, okay.
Reputable individuals.
No, because they're clearly making these children make these signs so they can plaster them all up over town. So you know it's slave labor to start with. Second of all, I'm not going to leave my child with anyone who. 20? Are you kidding me?
No, wait.
Is that what we've come to in America?
Hold on.
God, I need coverage for my child when? Oh, like Tuesday around 1 a.m.
Hare.
Drop them off.
Shut the fuck up for a second. Because now think about this. A, why hasn't this been a thing? Because people work night shifts. What do they do with their fucking kids? They got
not my problem.
Okay. No, that's fine. It's not your problem. But there's a business to be started there. And who wants? And to your other question, who wants to watch your kids at fucking night? I will. They're gonna just fucking sleep. I can do whatever I want.
I got a job for you, bro. Let me go drive down the street here and get this number. I'm gonna be right back. All right, I got things all lined up for you.
I'm gonna be sitting there playing Fortnite all night long, making money, while you guys are fucking sleeping like jabronis.
I mean, I really don't think that's how it's gonna work out. But you go right ahead, because
what else
I'm
you gonna
pretty
do?
sure you're gonna spend most of your time on the phone with protective services trying to arrange new people to take care of these children you're watching.
Why? I'll be doing it.
I mean, maybe.
I'm just saying that, Travis, I mean, none of us here are parents, so I feel like, can we get another person on the line? Can we get someone with children involved and see how they feel about this? Because I just don't know anyone that I know that would just drop off their kids at a 24-hour daycare in the ghetto.
Well,
I don't know, man.
Okay, but I understand you're saying in the ghetto, but like there are daycares all over the world, and people drop their kids off without knowing who these people are, anyways. For
yeah, but they're not on the corner of 15th and Allegheny in like the worst part of Philadelphia.
So really, your only problem is where this daycare is located.
I mean, I still have a problem with 24-hour daycare in general, to be honest with you.
I think Hare has a problem with the methods of advertising is a part of it.
Yeah, 24/7. It's like, oh, kids are disposable. Drop off your kids. Yeah, we'll fucking watch. Like, that's what they might as well put on their fucking sign.
We'll watch your kid big time.
Yeah, well, big time. We'll fucking watch your kids. We don't care.
Yeah, listen. Yeah, it's funny though that need has never been addressed before. That like a single.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree. I do think that there are probably some people that'd probably be like useful for. Don't get me wrong. Just their methods of advertising and location. I feel a little. That's more what I was trying to discuss.
Are there bars on the windows?
I'm sure that there are plenty of places where you could arrange childcare for after-night hours. Probably perfectly safe and wonderful options for a parent. This is not one of those options. I'm almost certain.
My question stands. Are there bars on the windows?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, then I would have a problem with dropping my kid off there.
Dude, I'm telling you, like when I say,
Don't be such an elitist, Travis.
I don't, Travis. When you come here in May, when we go out palling around, I'll show you where I'm talking about. I'm telling you, dude, this is not like when I say ghetto, I am not joking.
Well, okay,
this is like
I get
this
that.
is a real ghetto.
Yeah, sure, I know, I get that, but it's really just the problem that there's a daycare there. It's not the service hours to this daycare.
Well, I'm more concerned about the people who just drop their kids off at this daycare. At said daycare in the middle of the night. Just come on in, drop off your kids on 15th and Allegheny.
Okay, do you think there's dropping them off to go do nefarious things? Like drugs?
Oh, most definitely. So
do you want the kids around the drugs or you want them in daycare?
I want them in protective service.
All right, touche.
Is that an option here? I mean, I'm just saying. That's my whole point about this. No one seems concerned about the fact that they're children. These
all right, Harry.
Living.
I got a conspiracy theory for you.
Okay.
What if this place is actually just protective services undercover, and when you
Oh.
drop your kid off, you don't get them back?
God, you're right. It probably is.
Like that's their judgment test. If you respond to
Whose
a
kid can we
sign,
borrow to try this out?
if you respond to a sign written in crayon in the ghetto and drop your kid off at 3 a.m, like you don't get your kid back.
Harry, I'm going to propose something to you.
What's Travis doing?
I'm going to propose something to you. Become a foster parent just so you can drop your kid off there and see if it is a fun.
Oh man, and then see if you don't go to jail.
My wife did say if we had kids, we can move to Lancaster, and I really hate Philadelphia, so I'm considering the option.
You're getting an anchor baby to move to a different city.
I mean, have you been here recently, dude? This guy parks his car on the fucking sidewalk every day. That's the next topic I wanted to call about. Am I a bad person because I called the police for some fucking jabroni parking his goddamn car in the middle of the sidewalk?
Now, you got to describe it a little bit better to us and to our listeners.
Okay, well, you've seen a city street. Imagine walking on the city street, just like, there's houses,
right.
There's roads, cars parked on the side of the street, and then just a car parked in the middle of the sidewalk that you're walking down the street.
Like the middle of the sidewalk.
No, the entire sidewalk. The car is as big as the sidewalk. And so there is now no more park. You have to walk into the street to get around the car.
Over the car.
What is he parked in front of? What is it an apartment? Is it a storefront?
House.
It's a house. So, like his house, presumably.
Yes, and partially of someone else's who's no one is living in that house because it's still for sale.
So he's treating this as his shallow driveway.
Correct.
Can I ask a serious question?
Yes.
How has this guy's windshield not been shattered yet? Because if I was a random person walking on the sidewalk and I had to use it all the time, and I saw this car on that all the time, I would probably get so upset that I'd vandalize the car.
Oh, honestly, and that's what I was saying, dude. This comes into a bigger discussion I've had with my wife, with a lot of people. Is, dude, that's why I fucking hate the city. Is because no one here fucking cares, dude. They don't. Everyone else fucking does it. This happens all the time. People just park wherever they want in the middle of crosswalks, on the sidewalk. Dude, there's a car that's been parked in front of a fire hydrant. I've seen it there at least 2 days in a row. No ticket. No one's moved it. Nothing's happened to it. Right in front of a fire hydrant. Dude, in New York City, that would last about 10 minutes before your car got towed.
Here it doesn't fucking matter, dude. People park wherever they want all the time. Everyone's just an entitled son of a bitch, and I'm fucking sick of it, man.
Mad Maxadelphia, got it.
Dude, that is no. I am not joking. That is literally what's going on around here. And here's the worst part about it, man. Dude, look at all the fucking shit you watched with the Super Bowl, man. All it was a bunch of entitled white fucking Eagles fans running around trashing our fucking city, so that the fucking people who live and work here can't afford to pay for this shit because our city's fucking broke, have to clean up the fucking mess. And this is the same thing. Why are we not ticketing these fucking cars? Why are we not towing these fucking cars so we can make money for our fucking city that's bankrupt?
I think you should be a vigilante tow truck driver.
Yes. Or a meter maid.
Here, I would do it if I. Dude, here's the problem. Everyone in Philly's fucking insane. They'll kill you. They'll fucking murder me.
No. You're a vigilante meter maid. You got to have like a maid's costume on with a little mask on, run around just ticketing people's cars. I'm
not opposed to it.
I did tell Uncle Harry he had to buy a boot on eBay and boot the car.
Yeah,
I ran that by my wife. She did not think that was a good idea.
No one will see you do it. Do it at 4 a.m. Fuck it.
Dude, that's what I said. I'm honestly can do this guy. I mean, here's my whole point: is I don't even know if the cop even came here to ticket these fucking guys because they don't fucking care. No one in this city fucking cares, and I don't want to live in a place where people don't fucking care. Because all I'm doing is walking in the middle of the street because cars are parked on the sidewalk, and when I do walk down the sidewalk, I'm stepping on needles every fucking 10 seconds.
Walk me through the conversation you have with the police department. What does that sound like? You call up and say
okay,
what?
sir, we'll look into it.
No. What do you say to them?
What did I say? I said that there's a car parked in the middle of my sidewalk in my neighborhood, and it needs to be dealt with.
I don't know why that's funny to me, but it is. Like,
needs to be dealt with. That's like the most polite way of saying, get this fucking thing off the fucking sidewalk
well, yeah, because I'm
before I
not
lose
going
my
to call
shit.
the police and talk like an asshole to them. Yeah, I want to say, listen, you stupid fucking idiots. Do your goddamn fucking job and come write some fucking parking tickets so someone can pay your fucking salary.
I mean,
that's the real thing about this to me that really kills me is that there's so much money to be made off these people's entitled actions, but no one wants to do anything about it. And I don't understand why that the city would turn down free money that could help pay for after-school programs, pay for more officer salaries, pay to clean our streets, our road. I mean, come on, man.
I mean, they're more quality life guys.
You know, they're not so much about the money.
Right.
The quality of life in Philadelphia sucks, dude. You want to get addicted to heroin, move to Philadelphia.
Well, as appealing as that sounds, I think I'll pass.
Yes. No, it's a hard pass. Yes, we're all. Well, I'm leaving this fucking city, and I hope it burns to the ground.
And let's now.
Sorry, trash man. Go Eagles. I'm sorry.
Let me say for our listeners too. This is not the first time I've heard you say this about a city as you're trying to.
Oh yeah, no. LA's a shithole that can burn with the heat of 1,000 suns as well. Trust me, dude. Though I'll be honest, if I had to pick which one to live in now, I pick LA.
Yeah.
If I could go back, I think LA is a nicer city.
Is it because
you'd be more miserable in LA, which means you'd be actually happier on the inside?
Probably.
Or is it because LA is so big and there's more to burn?
No, but honestly though, at least in Los Angeles, a lot of places are clean. I mean, that's the really big thing about Philadelphia is it's just dirty and no one cares, man. There's just trash everywhere. There's cars parked on sidewalks. I mean, it doesn't happen on the West Coast. People want to live out there because it's a nice area. Not to mention where you have homes that cost $1 million just even for like a shithole house out there. You just don't. It's just not the same. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not really comparable.
So as we're getting ready to wrap up this episode here, there hasn't been a clear point in this episode, at least for me, where we're going to do a poll. Do you have some sort of poll that you'd like us to put up on our website?
Yeah, where should my wife and I move to? Because we have to get out of here by June 1st. I have to tell our landlords this month that we're leaving, and we have
that's a good poll.
Put a poll up of where my wife and I should move to.
Okay.
So what are the options? What do you got?
Three
common
options.
options you talked about?
It has to be in the Philadelphia area because of my wife's proximity to her office right now. So,
okay. So what suburbs are you considering?
I will consider any and all. Let's go with the poll, man. Come on, throw it up there.
Well, we got to put some options for the listeners to vote on.
Yes.
Well, Ardmore is a pretty big one.
Ardmore, okay.
Ardmore. There's also you could go up to like I don't know, like Flourtown.
Flourtown.
Okay. Jenkintown's a nice.
What about like Westchester?
Nah, that's too far, dude.
Okay, no Westchester. So we got Flowertown, we got Ardmore. We got, what was the other one you said?
Ambler, Jenkintown, any of those. I mean, there's 1,000 places. We just don't know where to go. That's the problem, man. When you literally go anywhere, we're just crippled by options right now.
And there is an option to stay in the ghetto and get addicted to heroin, right?
We could stay in Philadelphia. We'll not stay here in North Philly. No, we'll go back down to South Philly.
What about West Philadelphia?
Well,
he wasn't born and raised.
West Philadelphia used to be where Will Smith got in trouble playing basketball. Now it's home to all those colleges and college kids, and I'd just rather not really deal with that.
All right, so we're gonna put that up for the on the poll for this week. Where should hair move? And I'm gonna put down some three options. One of them for sure is gonna be stay in the ghetto.
Yeah, that's just gonna get 1,000 votes. I'm gonna hate your listeners. And by the way, if they even put Sacramento on there, I'm gonna kill them. I know you have listeners from Sacramento. In fact, can I address your listeners from Sacramento directly?
You don't like Sacramento?
Yes.
Attention, all listeners of Prestige Worldwide, the podcast in Sacramento, California. You live in the worst fucking city in the United States of America. Why the hell do you insist on living in that shithole, excuse my Donald Trump use of the word, of a city? Just fucking leave. Just go anywhere. Just go to the bottom of the goddamn ocean. What? That'd be a better place to live. Sacramento.
What's so bad about Sacramento?
Yeah.
You've been to Sacramento, California?
Not in a long time.
Yeah, I have.
Oh my God, it's fucking awful, man.
What makes it so bad?
I mean, imagine it's a city full of horrible, terrible people with nothing to do except die.
Wow. What? How did this hatred of Sacramento come to be?
Wait, I'm sorry, say that again?
How did this hatred of Sacramento come to be?
Oh, I really just don't like Sacramento. It's just a terrible city.
But
you have all the nice places to live in California. Why would you choose the worst one? It just makes no sense to me. You could live in San Francisco. You could live down the valley. You could live in Malibu. No, we're going to stay in Sacramento here where it's just hot and there's nothing to do and everyone's addicted to opioids.
Wait, when was the last time you were in Sacramento?
Oh, God.
You're going to say never.
4 years, 5 years ago.
Okay. And how long were you there for, and what was your purpose?
A day driving through.
So you just stopped in Sacramento and made this. You saw all of these heroin-addicted trash people standing around.
He apparently drove through the Skid Row of Sacramento 5 years ago and has never gotten over it.
That's what I thought until I realized that the Skid Row of Sacramento is Sacramento. That's all that was there.
Skid Row-mento.
Wow.
That's how I feel about Philadelphia. I was like, wait, where's like the nice part of the city? Oh, there isn't one. I got it now. I thought I just hadn't seen it yet. And after a few years here, I was like, wait, so where is like the actual city, the nice part? Like you're in it. I'm like, oh, wait, huh? Oh, shit. All right, I gotta leave. That's pretty much. I mean, I'm being a little unfair. I'm sorry. I told you that's some hot takes today, man. I'm mad at the city of Philadelphia.
It's okay
because I can't walk down the sidewalk because of these cars parked on the sidewalk, man. It's infuriating.
Oh, well,
all right.
We do feel your pain, but we also feel the pain of our listeners, so we are going to wrap up this episode.
All right, but then we're going to play video games later, right?
Yes.
Sweet. All right, well, I hate all of you, especially your listeners in Sacramento. Suck 1,000 dicks. Bye.
The number is 747 banging.
747-226-4464.
What was that, Travis?
4464.
That's right. There you go.
Wait, what did I
You
say?
got the number right.
Did I say?
I don't know. You muffle mouthed it there a little bit.
Oh, my bad.
Call in and maybe give Harris some suggestions about where he should live or what he should do about his neighbor's car parked on the sidewalk. God damn, that kid needs help.
If you didn't find that funny, we'll never have him on again. If you did find that funny, he'll be on an episode coming shortly.
Yeah, well, actually, I hope you find him funny because we do have an episode coming. He's going to be on regardless. So
that's true. So
yes.
Make sure you check out the website for the poll, pwthepodcast.com, PW the Podcast for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Please share or like or retweet or whatever the fuck you want to do with some of our posts that we make. Check them out.
Just do something with them. Anything. Whatever.
I work moderately hard on these things, and I'd like to share them with all of you.
It's It's Prestige Worldwide, the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, all that nonsense.
Yes. And
Is that about it?
I think so. This felt very disjointed to me. Hopefully, when we clean it up a little bit, it won't be. But if it was, I apologize and tune in next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.